Good morning, y'all. I got two coffees today.
Who?
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
We're doing a test live on camera.
God.
I used to drink regular milk all the time, no problem. And about 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago now, I was sitting at a coffee shop in Toronto near Ossington, and I had my regular flat white with regular milk. And I thought, this tastes weird. Maybe something's wrong with the milk. So I went back and asked for another one. I was like, I don't know, it's a bit weird. And they made me another one. I sat down, ready to enjoy it. And I was like, ugh, what's wrong with my, I just could not stomach the taste of the milk. So I got them to make me one with oat milk. And I kept trying that a couple times every time. So I switched to oat milk because I was like, I guess milk is not for me. And recently I've been feeling like the oat milk is like weird. So now I got two. I don't remember which one is which. And we're about to find out if I know. It's delish. I think that's real milk. We'll never know because no, that's real milk. Hmm. Yeah, that's real milk. It still tastes weird to me. Real milk. In other news,
Welcome to Life Stuff, everyone. As Justin is real living his coffee
there's your opening.
milk, oat milk test.
Yeah.
Well, you made me laugh, and
There
that's
you
good.
go.
You have two coffees. Me, I have two glasses. I don't know which one you like better.
Oh, I love the thick frames, but that's my personal.
I like it thick too.
Yeah. How are you, my friend?
Well, oh, that was quite the well.
A lot behind that well.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks, you know?
Okay.
Rough couple of weeks. My I don't know if I mentioned the last one, my bike accident, but I'm pretty much healed.
Yes.
Um,
Rough.
yeah. Went to the doctor yesterday on a positive note. I had a bunch of blood tests for every freaking thing there is, and everything is great. So
That's
I
lovely.
guess I'll live a little longer. Just about recovered from the bike accident, but as we discussed personally, I had a rough trip to Mexico. Things
Yes.
didn't quite work out the way I had hoped, and the universe obviously had other plans when I really thought differently. So
Yeah.
sometimes, sometimes, sometimes I just don't know about that universe, but I still trust it.
Yeah, that's a curious thing to talk about, actually. Just like the moments you sort of question, because I think that I'm sure many people, no matter what your faith is or what you believe in, there are times when shitty things happen that you, even though they maybe wouldn't admit it, like they definitely might not believe in it for a moment because of how something just doesn't feel fair or, you know, you have done enough work in yourself and have lived these years knowing yourself that something like this happening, I think, sort of feels like you're the rugs being pulled out from underneath you again in some way. And yet, how do you feel now, like a week later?
Well, this is the thing that I that I wanted to add. Even though the universe, like I just had this analogy. I always say when a relationship is going well, it's the most amazing thing. When it's not, it's the most horrible thing. It's like when the universe is like, yeah, just love, love what it's doing, love what it's giving you. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I learned a long time ago that I don't, how do I say this? But I don't like I don't it's not the right way to say it, but I don't count on it one way or another. It's like I just like, okay, this is what the universe is saying at the moment. This is how it's directing me. But I'm not attached to the word. I'm not attached to it.
Right.
I'm not attached to it because I also have learned that it always changes. When you think that you are being pointed in a direction and the signs are, you know, going a certain way, it's like, nope. Now,
Nope.
sometimes it does.
Right.
For me, for me, most of the time it doesn't. It's like, okay.
But then think about some other things that are bigger, like even like finding the place you live in now when you go to Puerto Vallarta. It wasn't how you thought it was going to be. It was a bit of a twisty way to get there, but you did achieve, like it's some, just to prove the point that you're making, like we do get some things that we say we want and then we achieve. We just don't necessarily usually get there the way we think we're going to get there. And then there are also those things that we don't get, that we want or we thought we wanted. But
And then you get them for a while. And then, like, speaking of Puerto Vallarta, like I'm seriously thinking of selling
right.
because of circumstances. It's like, shit, this was supposed to be my dream place, you know? And then all this, and but this is what's fascinating about life. Like if it's constant lessons, it's constant things coming into our life that lead us to the next thing. And you know, if you don't go with it, if you fight it, then it can be really difficult. And in answer to your question, I mean, yeah, I'm better because I'm still sad about what happened, but I'm better because things happened in the next few days. It's like, okay, you know, this is why that happened. I mean, I was really caught up in this beautiful situation I found myself in. But then it's like then it's like kind of reality set in and things happen. It's like, okay, this probably wouldn't have worked anyway. And it's still, it's like, damn, you know, like when you really think you want something and it doesn't happen, it's hard.
And I think to that point, when you really want something, sometimes we don't see all the signs that we normally see. The things that would have said, and only you can really notice them. Like, especially in these situations when there's romance involved, it's that those rose-colored glasses, they are powerful. And when
Thick.
it's something, and they're thick, and when it's something you want, I think you're willing to perhaps walk down the path a little further. In a different scenario, you maybe wouldn't, but this is something you really want. And so the potential of it being real and all the things lining up the way you were like, oh my God, this actually lines up. Like, how does this actually line up? And at the same time, now in retrospect, maybe you need more time too, because this actually hasn't been that long. But in retrospect, do you see, because sometimes I think we do this too soon. Like that's why I don't want to ask this question if you feel like you're just processing the feelings of being hurt, because that alone is enough. But then eventually you can go back and sort of, okay, there was that or there was this, and that sort of helps you have some closure around not feeling like it was all your fault. Like you didn't get swindled into this.
I'm okay with what happened because of my belief in the universe and that things happen for a reason. And you know, this is not my first go around with this kind of situation with a romance or I mean it could be a romance, a business or whatever. And so I really do, even though it's hard when it's happening, I really do trust,
Yeah.
you know. And you said something earlier when you think, and that's the whole thing, you think this is the right direction, but then you kind of have to like what happened And how it happened was so, and it was my doing, and it was so shocking to me of what I did. It like I got possessed, and it was like, holy shit, did that just come out of me? And of course, everything just spiraled after that, which is understandable. I mean, I felt horrible.
Right.
And it was like, wow, what the hell happened? You know?
Yeah.
So that part I'm still processing a little bit,
Yeah.
but I'm also realizing that, wow, that can happen.
Anyone can be that person. We all have the potential to be like something more nasty or something more sweet.
Mhm.
Every single one of us has that in us.
There's a lot of, again, being in limbo and the whole thing around my mother. And, my mother's going to be 97 on Saturday. And, my close relationship with my mother. And I'm starting to, you know, have a lot of fear around that and how much longer she's going to be around. So I really think I need at some point, and this is another good thing to discuss with people, like there's nothing wrong with getting help.
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't felt a deep calling, but I would say in the last six months, I've had some thoughts about therapy as well, which I knew I needed a huge break after life coaching for 10 years. And I've given myself a really nice size break. But what I've noted, it has to be the right therapist. This person has to be someone who understands you a little bit, like understands your experience, because otherwise, and honestly, somebody who's like therapy has changed over the
Yeah.
years. It's gotten a lot more like specific. My sister has done specific types of therapy that I've never even heard of. And they've really helped her because they're about a specific thing. So we know how important this is. You and I know how important this is for us personally. Y'all, we do this for us. I don't know if y'all know that. We don't do it for you, but we know that this stuff can help you as people who watch. We decided maybe a year and a half ago that like we would do these chats anyways as the people we are, as the way we keep in touch with each other. But this isn't always enough.
Mhm.
Friendships aren't always enough. Partnership with another person isn't always enough. Having another person outside of all of those experiences that don't have an emotional attachment to everything that's going on is a very powerful perspective to have in your back pocket, because it's truly what it is. You go to them once a week or you take a break for a month. Like, I think I'm really glad you brought this up, because I think more and more it just needs to be a staple in people's lives, which means we need good therapists too.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've again, I mean, everything you said is correct, and a lot of the stuff that we talk about, we repeat a lot of the stuff we talk about, but it's stuff that's really important, and it's important to repeat because these are things that happen again and again in life,
Yeah.
and you
And
know,
it doesn't matter how evolved or where you are on your expansion journey. Like, it literally does not matter. But to your point of like feeling like everything's a flux in the air, I'm also on that train. And I've realized that fall often feels like that for me. This
okay,
year it feels even more chaotic, and yet like nothing has changed. I didn't change jobs. I didn't go anywhere. I But it feels like it's sort of connected to the music, because all of a sudden I was walking down this path for like 12 years, and now I just pivoted over here, which was not foreign. It's not like piano was not a part of my life, but it like literally feels like everything is now moving in this direction, and I'm sort of just like, okay, how do I spend my time now? Like before, I was like, I wouldn't say no to anything audition wise. And now I'm being much more picky about what I say yes to, because I actually want to spend more time writing my music. Like it's just crazy to even, I just would never have believed you if you told me this is what my life was going to be like this year. And that feels like I have no grounding all of a sudden, because something that I was so good at and so consistently like This is how I audition. This is my life. I go to my job. I do my work. It's easy. Now I'm like, okay, I guess I could keep writing today, but like there's no end goal other than the goal that I set for myself, which was writing the music, which is for no one but me.
But here's the thing I'd like to add to that. This is where this is where a lot of people and where I'm struggling is that what you're doing right now, you need to say, okay, I'm okay with that. This is what I'm doing right now. This is where I feel like I'm being led. That may not last.
Yeah.
You know, next month or who knows, it could be something completely different. With your situation, it's interesting because it's like, people out there who are questioning what they're doing. It's like, well, just be okay with it, allow it, and see where it takes you, you know.
Yeah. And it's crazy that even though I know that and you've reinforced it and my siblings have reinforced it, I want to reiterate that like even though I know better, you know better, we know these things, like it's amazing how instilled all of the like, oh, but nobody's actually going to listen to it. Oh, but nobody's actually going to buy this. Oh, but and we've talked about this all the time. And I say it because it's just a reminder that that will always be there to some degree. You have to do it anyways.
Exactly.
If you feel called, you do it anyways. And I'm much more tuned in to like the feeling of like, no, I have to do this. When you feel it, you got to listen to that.
And there will always be fear, there will always be doubt.
Yeah.
There's an old book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Yeah.
Amazing book. And that's the thing. Again, that's what stopped us. Again, these are recurring themes for us in this life stuff.
Yeah.
That's what stops us. It's the fear, it's the doubt, it's the insecurity. So anyway, let's wrap this up.
Amen.
And I think this episode was I would say it was about some really recurring themes, some big um, recurring message themes that we've talked about many times. One,
Mm.
the universe,
Yeah.
and trusting it
Mhm.
and allowing it to do its thing. Um, the other is about what?
I mean,
What's my part? The universe.
the universe knows the bigger picture. So you have to trust that what you don't know yet, it knows. And it has a bigger understanding of the bigger play here, which I think we forget sometimes. Like you don't get to know the future because you wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't have believed this future, but there's something about it that needs to play out for you in whatever comes next. And I think that that's also one of the things we talked about is that you don't like fearing those things that aren't actually necessarily going to come true are not the reason to not do something. You got to do what feels like the right thing to do next.
And you said something really important, and I'd like to emphasize that. Allow it to play out. You know, it you you go towards a certain way, and it's like, oh shit, this is not working out, or it is working out, and allow it to be and allow it to play out. I think that's a huge thing. The second thing, now I remember what the second thing was, is that again, we talk about many times reaching out, if you need help. I mean, whether it's to a friend or whatever, but there are certain times when it's like, no, I really need to get professional help. I need to get therapy to help me get through this particular period. So we talked about that as well.
Well, folks, we love you. Thanks for watching, for all those that do. And yeah, we'll put some links in the description. There's a couple therapy links I'm going to put in that are just like universal places you can look for a therapist. Um,
Or ask people that are going to a therapist,
yeah.
and then again, when you find one, you know, you have to feel them out. Like, is this a good fit for you? Don't just, you know, um, be with someone or go with someone because it's like, okay, I need a therapist. Well, you have to really, like you said, that there has to be a connection. It has to be
Mhm.
what works for you. So, okay.
All righty.
Good to
Cheers.
see you. And again, we had no idea what we were going to talk about. We usually never do.
Oh,
I'm sure next week we'll get back to politics because,
oh, I was wondering if we were going to say something, but you know what? There'll be so much more to talk about next week, so we'll leave it for next week.
and it's way too close. It's very scary.
Very
So,
scary, but I just want him to keep being crazy and her to keep being fucking awesome.
exactly.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Good. All right. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Okay.